Hello everybody, this is Dan from Dan's Outdoor Adventures. Uh, don't have any camping videos for you today or any survival videos or anything. What I do have is something pretty interesting that I bought on Amazon. It'll set you back a little bit of a pretty penny, but it's cheaper than buying an ATV. Yes, a grown adult can fit in it. It's not something you probably would want to ride for several hours straight in, but a grown adult could fit in it easily. I'm 5'11" and I fit in it comfortably. Another gentleman on YouTube I've seen video on, he's 6'4" and he fits in it. But what I'm about to show you now is actually pretty neat. I'm down here on the family farm where I do all my camping. And this thing allows me to pretty much go anywhere down here. So let's get into it. This is called a mini Jeep. There's several different companies that make it. This one is from MotoGp, I think, on Amazon. And obviously, you know, built in China, just like everything else. But it comes from Texas. They ship it out of Texas. And before I go into details, I just want to tell you that this thing will go anywhere. It's not four-wheel drive. It's just rear-wheel drive. Has a 125cc go-kart engine in it. It's basically a go-kart frame with World War II Willys Jeep body on it. So I'll start at the top, work my way down. First off, we'll start at the front end here. These are LED headlights, and you have actual turn signals that actually do work. I tested the headlights out, and they are incredibly bright. Solid steel bumper. These are 5-watt LED off-road lights that I just kind of installed and wired in myself. These are fender flares to keep some of the mud from splashing up on me due to the fact that my leg sticks out a little bit. And those are made for, like, I think it's the front bumper of your car. But let's pop the hood here, or trunk technically, and lift it up. It's a little bit dirty because I've already driven it out here. There's your gas tank. It's like 1.4 gallons. And it has hydraulic brakes, surprisingly enough. I don't know if you can see it down there, but it's got independent front suspension. And if you can see it, right there is your disc brakes, your rotors and calipers. It does have them, it has one in the back on the chain drive and then two here up front. Again, it's a little dirty. I apologize. I've already headed out and about. Let's shut that. Why it has a hood scoop, I don't know, or a grill. It's aesthetics, I guess. Moving on. It does have a windscreen. However, as an adult, you sit about a foot higher than the windscreen, so it really doesn't do a whole lot. But, you know, there's more to come on this. And it has some really aggressive, knobby off-road tires for being a Chinese go-kart. Aluminum wheels. This was some generic rubber fender flaps, mud flaps I bought on Amazon. Just to screw in there again, just to keep mud from splashing all over me. It does have like a step bumper. While that design looks steel, it is not. It's part of the plastic molded body. Here you have your choke. Here you have your headlights and then your turn signals. It does not have brights. Don't get excited. Basic steering wheel, basic steering shaft. It does have kind of like an emergency brake. It doesn't work very well. I think I need to adjust it. And then brake pedal, gas pedal. Now you see the stick. Okay, so what this is a 3-speed semi-automatic. So it's basically a clutchless manual, if you want to call it that. Then this is where the horn, yes, it comes with a horn. This is where the horn usually is, but I use this to turn on and off my off-road lights. This right here is a gear indicator. It'll tell you if you're in reverse, neutral, 1, 2, or 3. And then over here is your speedometer. Oh, mine popped out. Easy fix. Your speedometer. Unfortunately, it's in kilometers per hour. So far, with 2 adults and a test drive, I've managed to hit 31 miles an hour in this thing. I had to get on Google and do the conversion. But driver's seat, handle, it does slide back and forth on a track. And these seats are foldable. It does come with seat belts for those of you that want to take your kids for a ride. The passenger seat folds up and down, but does not slide back and forth. This right here is your engine access plate. And then on here, I put on some more stuff that you saw up front, just to, keep myself from getting covered in mud. Back here, we have lights. With the lights turned on, you have illuminated tail lights. When you press on the brake pedal, these light up. You have your turn signal, and you have reverse lights, which is kind of surprising. 3-gallon steel jerry can, which is actually being used and probably needs to vent. And then comes with a spare tire, in case you get a flat while you're out and about. That is a new addition. That is a universal hitch mount, pin hitch mount for a garden trailer that I bolted to the frame. It's got a little rail back here. It does have quite a bit of space in the back for being such a tiny vehicle. And again, you have your lights on the side. And I have mud flaps in the back, and another mud flap here, another fender flare. All in all, this thing's pretty cool. It does have rear view mirrors, and they actually do function, surprisingly. You can move them in all different kinds of directions, and they're completely functional. I've taken it down the street after I finished building it, and I could see everything behind me. No, this is not street legal, but it was a side street, and it was just a test drive. So we're going to get up underneath here. Oh, follow me. Okay. So there's the battery, tiny little motorcycle battery. That's the transmission and engine combination. It has an open air filter right there. I don't know if you can see that right there. It's got an open air filter. I bought a filter bag for it, a dry flow bag, just because I'm not fond of it. There's your suspension. There's your chain drive, and then there's your disc brake and caliper. And if we get back here, there's your sprocket for your drive sprocket. I will say this, there's a lot of companies that do make other models of this. A lot of them have their engines in the front. The only downside I've ever seen about having the front engines is people complain a lot about chain slap. I don't have that problem because my chain on here is super short. The manufacturer has been pretty good getting back with me. Let's see if I can pop a picture of this shift linkage. I don't think I can. Right there. That bar runs across there. That's your shift linkage. A lot of this is held together with cotter pins. Not gonna lie. A lot of the linkage and a lot of the pieces use a lot of different cotter pins. But overall, this thing's pretty capable. Like I've gone quite a few places out here at the farm with it, and it'll drive through just about anything. Especially with that, having that semi-automatic transmission, it'll get up and go. I can't take it top speed out here at the farm. I can't floor it. Too many divots and potholes and everything else. But there it is in all its glory. Now I'm going to take you guys for a little ride. Now, you're probably not going to be able to hear me if I talk at all, because Well, I'm going to be sitting up above the windscreen, and this is how you have to get in. It's a little embarrassing. You just throw your leg over and you plop down. Alright. So it starts up pretty easy. Already started. It's not too loud. It's basically a 125cc dirt bike engine. So it's not too loud. I'm already in first gear because I leave it like that in gear. As you notice, it won't roll anywhere. But I leave it like that in first gear just because it's a lot easier. But we're going to go through a drive through a field through some tall grass, so you can kind of see what this is like. By the way, this is not easy to steer, so bear with me. I'm doing this one-handed. This is just an area that I just finished mowing. It's a pretty capable little rig. This is really tall grass. This is like 4 foot tall grass. And it just handles it like a champ. I have no idea where I'm going, by the way. I just know I'm going somewhere. Lots of weeds and tall grass and shrubbery. It's very bumpy down here. There's lots of bumps. Down here mowing. Let's see if I can go through this way. This way's pretty bad. Oh, that was a stick. That's a big pothole. I know there's a well here somewhere. That's a tree. As you can see, I am plowing right through all of this really tall grass. And those are thorns. It has to try a little bit, but, and we're back out again. Steering is not fun. Sorry, had to shift. It's got quite a bit of torque, and first gear, it's got a little bit in second. Third gear has, well, no torque at all. This engine doesn't make, I think it's all of like 9 horsepower. But you can see I'm moving along about 15 kilometers per hour. Don't ask me what that is in miles. You'll just have to Google it. I don't know. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoops and dips. But yeah, this little thing gets up and goes. It is hard to steer. You can do an alignment yourself. It does have adjustable tie rods, so you can do an alignment yourself. It's the steering. It doesn't definitely lack good steering, but it's a cool little vehicle. Ooh, hit a rut. I keep it out of here at the farm so I can tow trailer, get places. We're going to do a turnaround here at the road. There we go. I will say this, when turning, this thing does seem to have a lot of understeer. The front end, I guess because you basically sit over top of the engine, and with the weight distribution of this thing, once you get all the weight when you're sitting in it, the front doesn't, it doesn't want to steer. The front end basically wants to keep going forward while you're pushing on the gas. So you have to be able to turn around, to do a UE, you have to go really, really slow. I will say this thing, for being how tiny it is, does not have a tight turning radius. It is really wide for how small it is. But other than that, I mean, it's not too horrible of a ride until you hit, really big bumps. I have yet to test it in mud. But with these off-road tires, I'm gonna imagine it's probably gonna do pretty good. Let's get back here to where I was. Ow. Yeah, the suspension definitely leaves some room for improvement, but go ahead, stop. All right, and then you see it shows I'm in second gear now. Now it's in first, and that's where I'm going to leave it when I turn it off. Again, it's a pretty cool little thing. I like it. It's got a lot of decent reviews. And overall, it's just a cool little rig to be able to have on a farm and tow stuff with. And it's fairly gutsy. When you get it in them, first gear, it's got some oomph to it. It runs, I think, after shipping, I want to say it runs at around 2 to 2,300, somewhere around there. But it also does depend on what brand you get. Will depend on whether or not you have an engine in the rear or if the engine's going to be in front. I personally like the engine in the rear just because it eliminates the possibility of having loose tension on your chain and getting chain slap or the chain coming off. And it leaves more room under the hood for me to do stuff. But I have done the light upgrade, the off-road light upgrade. I put some mud flaps on it, some fender flares. And I got rid of the horn to be able to wire in my lights. I'm not really worried about using a horn when it's pretty much just me out here. One more thing I'm going to add to it, and that's this. Right back here behind the passenger seat, since it doesn't move, is a big empty opening for a decent sized battery. And up here on this bumper, it's maybe 2 inches, but I'm going to be bolting up a universal adapter plate, and I'm going to be putting on a 750-pound winch on the front of this thing. And it'll run strictly off its own battery that's sitting behind the passenger seat. Because the little motorcycle battery is not enough to be able to power a winch. But I'm going to be putting a 750-pound winch on there. Will the welds hold? I don't know, because they are Chinese welds. But I guess we'll just have to find out if those dinky little welds in there will actually hold up. If not, I can always re-weld it. But yeah, that's my review on the MotoGP Mini Jeep. It's dirty, but it's a cool little rig. I like it. It goes anywhere, does just about everything I need it to do. And I'll try to put a link for the Amazon page. I'll try to put a link in the description. But folks, that's about all I got for you today. Just wanted to show off my new little grown man's toy. My kid absolutely loves it. She loves going for rides in it. But yeah, that is my my review of the MotoGP go-kart with a Willys body on it. If you're interested and you have property to ride it around on, you guys really should check it out. It's a really cool thing to drive. It's just a little hard to steer one-handed. Well, that's all, folks, and join me for the next time I make a video for Dan's Outdoor Adventures.